Thank you for joining us today.
Gosh, we're excited to have you. Thank you so much.
So, for anyone listening, we have a really exciting guest here today. Her name is Dr. Catherine Miller, and she is incredible.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here with my friends. My name is Dr. Katie Miller. I am a mixed animal rural practice veterinarian in central Kansas. We very much are rural practice. Sometimes we have llamas in the barn, sometimes cats, dogs, everything. It's a little bit of everything in our practice, but I met Brooke and Kelly through their help with us with the Fuse, the agency, and I'm really excited to be here.
I didn't know you had llamas in your barn sometimes.
Yeah, there's all kinds of silly stuff that sometimes show up. Most of the time that's Dr. Blasey working on that stuff, but
it's there.
It's there.
yeah, it
Wow.
happens. So,
Okay.
Oh my
I
gosh,
just
we
really
are.
wouldn't expect llamas in Kansas, honestly. I love that
yeah,
journey.
no, there's llamas here, sure enough.
Oh my gosh, amazing. And obviously, my favorite star of your show is your office cat.
Right.
Right. He's
Kelly and
super
I
important.
both.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's super
Just so
important to me.
so I know where I rank. It's right below the
Totally.
cat.
Yeah. I mean, and I have zero apologies for that. So
If it makes you feel any better, my husband feels that way with our cats. Because if the cat is like sitting on me, it's a rule in our household. I'm not moving because I'm not going to disturb the cat. So Alec could be really cozy on the couch. And I'm like, hey, can you give me a water? And he's like, you don't want to disturb the cat, do you? And I'm like, no. And he's like, but you'll disturb me. And I'm like, 100%. 100%.
yes.
But I'm like, you have a brain. You understand what's going on. He doesn't. He would just feel evicted. And that's horrible.
Really?
No, cats have brains.
I know. They're just not
brains. Devilish
big.
brains.
Yes, they are. They literally are.
Oh, that's so
Um,
funny. That's so funny though.
we could talk about craziest animal stories at some point in this episode.
Yeah, that sounds good. Why not? I
I'm
think
sure
you're the
you have
perfect
them.
human, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so to dive in before we really go into who you are, why you do what you do, all of that stuff, we wanted to ask just a couple find your fuse questions.
Yeah.
So the first one is, what's one moment in your journey as a vet or a business owner that made you feel proud, grounded, and like you were exactly where you're meant to be?
So maybe this is just because we just did this the other day, but the other day I was with my team and it's been a year or so ago, but Brooke built us a brand strategy document. And we always knew it was awesome, but we were kind of like, yeah, I mean, this is awesome. I'm not real sure what to do with it, but I like it, you know?
Yeah.
And so we built some vision boards, which we also copied off of Fuse the agency's idea, or that would be Find Your Fuse, I guess. But we built vision boards off of that. And so we were reviewing this brand strategy document as a team, and we are just kind of talking about it and collaborating. And we were looking at our brand words, one of which was unity. And my team was just talking, and a new member to our team, she had just joined us, was saying, that to me is the biggest brand word of that really resonates here, and it's why I'm here. And it just was like just seeing my team right there all together, and we're just kind of collaborating and being together and talking about our brand, talking about Rocking KM, what it is. It was just like oh my God, this is so awesome. Like these people see my vision. They are a part of the vision. It's not my vision, it's our vision. They're a part of it. And I'm euphoric right now. This is awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
That's it.
I know I've gushed to you about this a million times, and we'll talk about this later in the episode, so we don't even need to dive super deep at this second. But like your skills and leadership and the culture and the team that you cultivated is truly so inspiring to me, because I've worked in companies that you're not happy there. You know what I mean? And you can tell in the culture, and no one's happy there, and everyone's always a little bit grumpy, and it's the fake smiles everywhere. And like your team doesn't have that. Like you can tell everyone's truly in it and they enjoy it. And life is life, so I'm sure life happens, but everyone's happy to be there. And that is not a given at every place. So the way you do leadership and build culture is really inspiring. And I say it all the time, but I will say it again.
And even going to the unity word, it's not like you have unity on, in your office and everyone's, oh, I don't really know what that means here.
Yeah.
People feel that. That is so powerful
Huge.
and really special. So I love that. Also, congrats to a new team member. That's lovely.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Yay.
She's going to be wonderful. We're excited to have her.
Okay, good. I love this. And since, we're all about duality of seasons and life, because we're all very happy and all very sad all at the same time, joy with the sorrow. Is there a moment in your journey so far that has almost broke you? I could give up my practice right now, or I could stop being a vet right now. What would you say that was?
Absolutely. Easy peasy. being a mother. Yeah. Everybody
Mm.
talks about, everybody talks about, I'm going to start crying right here.
Okay,
Go
we
for
cry
it.
in almost every episode, so it's welcomed.
Yeah. Everybody talks about, yeah, being, going back to work is hard, blah, blah, blah. But I remember dropping my daughter off at daycare and driving to work the first time that I did that. And I was like, I do not freaking care what happens at that clinic today. I do not care.
Oh.
It does not matter. It is not important compared to my daughter that I just dropped off in someone else's arms to hold all day. That was like, it was heart-wrenching. Like you can't even understand the heart-wrenching until it's your child that you put in somebody else's arms and you're like, nothing, nothing else matters. Nothing. That. And still, I mean, she's 2 now and I don't cry as often when I drop her off, but it's still hard sometimes. So absolutely.
Yeah,
I
and
can't wait to talk.
I was gonna say, not being a mom, I don't have that direct experience, but did I just get goosebumps thinking about like the love that you have for your babes? Yes. And I think that is so powerful. And I would probably be the exact same way. When I go on a trip and someone has to come and look at my cats, I feel bad.
I know.
And
Yeah.
that's obviously
And
not
I'm
the
sure-
same, but kind of the same for me right now.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's just when something's so personal. And I would say it before and I will still say it now. Like I'm like being a stay-at-home mom is like top-notch job. I'm probably not stay-at-home mom material. I would remodel the house every day.
Right.
However, like that doesn't mean that it's still easy to see ya, hun. Not easy.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about this more because my husband and I are definitely talking about kids and all of what that looks like. And though I'm 100% positive I want to be a mom and I'm very excited for that season of life and like I know it's coming,
Yeah.
I'm terrified of it because I'm
Yeah.
like it's not, I don't know, like when you know this as a business owner, it's not like you just clock out as easily as if you were in a 9 to 5 that is someone else's baby and their problem to deal with. So I work a lot. And
Yeah.
I know that those hours won't be able to exist the way they do now when there is another human child that needs attention and care. So I'm excited to talk about that more of what motherhood plus being a business owner looks like and how you balance it and all of the emotional of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even in that frame, I guess, what keeps you going then? Is it also her?
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually visiting with it was on a different podcast actually, and I was visiting with it was a man and he was interviewing me and I probably said something very similar to what I just said and he said, he was like, yeah, but isn't it going to be so awesome when she's a little bit bigger? And my mom's a badass. And I'm like,
Totally.
well, yeah, she is,
Totally.
girl. And
Yes.
you are too, because girls can be
Yes.
badasses. So
Exactly.
Totally.
like, I don't know why, but his words right then, I was like, yeah, that's going to be
Yes.
totally awesome.
Yeah.
It is. She's going to get to see a woman in business who's not just like showing up to work for someone else every day, but I own this place.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is my team. Like I'm in charge of other people's. It's inspiring to see. And I think that's really freaking cool.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And you can be like, I had my arm so far up a calf this morning. Like what you do as a business owner is very different from what we do as a business owner.
Yes.
So you take badass kind of to a whole new level that like Brooke and I, no offense, Brooke, I just know you, would never be able to do.
I
So
would stomach it.
yeah.
I really respect it. I am so grateful for vets because currently all I have is cats as kids and I'm obsessed with them. Truly. I pass out at the sight of blood. I do. Like in real life, I can't do it. Puke I can deal with, surprisingly enough. I can deal with puke. Blood? One time Toothless squished his tail in our like sliding door, like it just like, nipped the end of it and he bled a little bit and I didn't pass out. There wasn't enough blood for me to pass out, but I did cry for 3 days because I felt so bad and I was like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So thank you for being a vet because I could not.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's kind of awesome how when you start thinking about that when you were saying that, Brooke, I'm like, his tail will be fine. But then the things that Brooke can do that I'm like, Brooke, I don't know. Can you just make this stupid graphic, please? Isn't it kind of awesome?
Yes. I love how the world goes around because we're all so different. And truly, I really do love that because it makes life more interesting. And you can have conversations like this where you're like, really? That's what's hard? Because for me, I think it's fun.
Wouldn't it be lame if we were all the same?
Yes.
Boring as hell.
Yeah.
There's
not my
literally
thing.
Yeah, thank God we all have different skills and
Yeah.
loves. And so I guess on that vein, what would you say your story is? Like, how did you get into vet med? Why did you decide to have your own practice aside from just working at a practice?
So this question came up the other day of why did you want to be a vet? And I think the answer, I grew up in agriculture. So animals are our pets, but also they are a way of life, okay? And they're tools and they're things that feed us, okay?
Yeah.
They're how we support ourselves. And that doesn't always just mean cuddly, lovey. I just want to, that it's different. And so I think I had horses growing up, and it was always like I wanted to understand the situation more. If I wanted all the information, I wanted to understand why this horse couldn't perform anymore, or why this horse's eye was messed up, or what have you. It was a strive for knowledge, wanting to understand as much as I could. And so, well, I guess that's being a veterinarian is understanding all of those issues. So that's where that originated. So I started Rocking KM in 2011. And then it was just me and one other employee, and we practiced we were just mobile out of a truck, which is pretty common in our area because obviously cattle and horses don't move as easily. And then in 2018, we bought our first brick and mortar, and that's when the practice really got kind of larger. That's the time that we grew to a team of probably about 10 or 12 at that point. And that is really when things kind of started to move along. And just recently, actually later this month, we are going to acquire another brick and mortar practice, which will be another clinic as well. So I'm really excited about that.
Yay!
Yeah.
Big growth happening.
Would you say that feeling this growth and living in this growth pattern is the most fulfilling part of entrepreneurship, or what would you say that would be?
Growth and feeling that is definitely fulfilling, yes. But more so than that is just kind of like we referenced earlier, the most fulfilling part for me is like providing for my team and like knowing that these are awesome people and they are serving me and I am serving them. Like I am able to provide them a good job with good benefits that's reliable, that still values the same things that they value. So that is probably the most fulfilling part.
What would you say is the hardest part?
Just the hours, like we just talked about, because right now I still practice veterinary medicine, but I'm also the leader, the entrepreneur, the part-time marketer, the content, and so I've learned to delegate. I have an amazing team, as we've already stated, but still just figuring how all those pieces fit together is the hardest part.
Yeah, even if you're delegating, you still have worn the hats at some point.
Right.
And so there's still like a closet of hats that you have at your disposal if you need to put them on. But yeah, even delegating alone is one task that is hard.
Yeah,
because sometimes
absolutely.
it's harder to train someone than it is just, I'll just do it and I'll work an extra hour.
Yeah.
So I feel
that's what I was going to say. Delegation in and of itself is still just a new task.
Right. Yeah.
With a different, like, it's still because you still have to follow up on ensuring that things are done properly, and not in a micromanagey way, but like at the end of the day, it's your business. It will fall back on you if not. So you still have a hand in all the things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
What is something that people don't know about rural veterinary medicine? Because I feel like it's different than like the normal practice that's in maybe a bigger city or a place that doesn't have as many big animals.
Yeah. So I would say the biggest thing would probably be like in most cities or more urban areas, there's the veterinarian that you might take your dog to get his rabies vaccination and get neutered. And then if he gets hit by a car, that's a separate practice, a veterinary practice, like an emergency veterinary practice. We are one. Okay. So that creates a lot of on-call hours, as we already, discussed, that can be pretty demanding. Yeah. Demanding is definitely the right word for that.
Yeah. Even just, I know you guys offer a lot of emergency services. So that literally could be at any time, whether it's Christmas Day or 3 in the morning, to go and help or go birth or go do something that's absolutely needed in that moment. And so, yeah, that has to be taxing, even if you have a light week, but you randomly get a call at 2 in the morning to go do something.
Yeah,
Go do it.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that is, I talked about that guilt of leaving my daughter of, oh, I worked all day. My work is done. I get to come home to her. I pull in the driveway and emergency.
Mhm.
Eesh.
But again, you're like a superhero to those
Yeah.
people that need you. So that has to be really hard because you get to still go, you're helping someone else, you're serving someone else, but you're still going home being like, and now I missed dinner.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I talk about this a little bit in some of our content coming up next month, actually. And so then with that though, is when I go on that emergency call is not being a hateful rip that I'm on this emergency call, right? Because these people called me because they need help and I am their veterinarian and I was their choice and they
Trust you.
have done due diligence to set up that relationship beforehand and I am here to help. It is not fair for me to arrive being resentful and hateful and not having my mind in the right place that I am there and not with my daughter. That's not fair to them. And honestly, it's not fair to myself or anyone, right? Like that's just so just like when that situation arises of being like, okay, different hat for a little bit longer, am I just rocking my role there and not
feeling
being
the
resentful about being there?
I think that too is even a fun conversation. And Kelly and I had chatted about something similar in our first episode of this podcast because as business owners, I know I gaslit the heck out of myself to believe that I always had to be so freaking happy and grateful. Yes, always grateful, but always had to be so obsessed and happy. And it's not so easy, but it is definitely possible to either fall out of love with what you're doing or just feel burnt out by it in that exact moment. And then you feel really guilty about it because then you're like, but like, I'm supposed to love this and this is what I do. And these people are trusting me with this stuff. And like, it's so human to have moments of, I don't like this at this
I don't
exact
want
second.
to.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean you hate it. It just means I'm tired.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Brooke. And something that I feel like social media is tough, right? But I really feel like social media has given me a bit of a platform to be like, you know what? Veterinary medicine really sucks sometimes. And I want to tell you about it,
Totally.
Yeah.
And it honestly is I don't know if it's resonated with anyone or not, but I think that it's just I feel like it's given me the opportunity to say, I want to tell you about some of the stuff you might not know. And I feel better. So that's all that matters, right?
It's like therapy a little bit. And I
Yeah.
love that you use it for that because so often social media can also be the opposite, a highlight reel where everyone's like, everything's magical and it's perfect and amazing. And I love life. And I'm like, tell me the truth for a split second. Because I love life too. But also that doesn't mean I don't go scream into a pillow every once in a while because our podcast system crashed for the 30th time. And I'm like, gosh darn it, I can't figure out this tech or whatever it might be. And I just wish more people talked about that. And I love that you do. And you're not afraid to talk about yes, I love what I do, but also this portion of it sucks. And it's not always hunky dory because I think a lot of people feel guilty when they feel that way in business. I know I have. And it took a lot for me to be able to say, I'm not always thrilled about what I'm doing, even though I love what I do.
Right.
But it's just sometimes you need a break,
Or even taking a break makes you feel bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge like entrepreneur issue in general is
right.
You're right. I deserve to have a day off a week.
Yeah.
But holy crap, like my to-do list is still growing and there's still people counting on me and there are all these things I would love to sleep in. And you feel bad about it until you get to a point of, no, if I don't, I won't be able to work as good or I won't be able to serve as good as I want to. And that's just like a hard hit in the head that all of us need to learn. I think that's like a learned thing.
Absolutely.
I don't know any entrepreneur that doesn't struggle with that. And if you're listening and you're like, oh, my life is easy, happy hunky dory, show us the way.
Yeah.
Give us the secrets.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it's also fun and I wouldn't trade it for anything though, because it really is the most fulfilling and the most exciting and there's no high that compares to it in my opinion. Because like even when I had a good day in my corporate life and did a good job on a project or whatever, like that satisfaction does not equate to this satisfaction at all.
Right.
Yep. I agree completely. I understand what you're saying in a totally different perspective, but I totally get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Same idea. So I think a fun conversation as well, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, is we met really from actually a different podcast, which is really fun. But it all started with your branding. So I am biased and would love to chat about the power of branding, because I know that is something that you would have at one point been like, what power?
Mhm. Absolutely.
And let's chat about that, because we redid your brand in April of, was it March of 2024?
It's been about a year. So yeah,
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Yeah, it was March, April, around that.
Mhm.
What has been the biggest shift that you've felt in your business ever since going through a rebrand?
Yeah. I cannot say enough things about that, honestly. And when I first talked to Brooke and we were like, I was just filling this out. I was like, I just want to read our website redone. Okay. That's all I
Mhm.
want. And she shoots me with this big old, well, we need to do this and this. I'm like, listen, lady, I just want our website redone.
You don't
Okay.
know me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to calm the F down,
Fair, fair, fair.
and I'm not even kidding. I'm not being satirical. That is
Mhm.
exactly that. I was like, no,
Mm-mm.
we don't need
Mhm,
all that. I
Mhm.
just need a new website.
Mhm.
mhm.
But I don't know, followed my gut, I guess, and Brooke redid everything. And I can't describe honestly the energy that it gives me now, because like I knew what rocking KM was in my head, but now it matches, right? When it's on paper and when it's on apparel and when it's on our website and when it's on Instagram, it all matches what's in my head. Because before it was just in my head and I
Mhm.
knew it, but I didn't have any way. The whole world needs to see it, and now they do. The other
Yeah.
day, I was working with a grant writer, and we were just talking about a project, and I don't know this person, okay? Like he didn't know Rocking KM. He's a grant writer. That's what he does. And he emailed me back and I just looked at your Instagram and your website. He's, Katie, Rocking KM is a brand. Like it's not a vet clinic, it's a brand. I was like, yeah, I
Yes.
know.
I
Shout
know.
out.
Hair
You're
flip
like,
Shout
I've
out.
been, you're like
Yeah.
telling me something I don't know.
Yeah. I know, but I was like, that's awesome. That's
That's
awesome.
huge. That's huge.
That
It's
makes me,
the second you said it was an energy shift, that is how we talk to people about branding, because it is about the confidence that you are.
Absolutely.
Like you can't market effectively and you can't love on people effectively online or even in person if you have,
Yeah.
physical spaces, if you don't feel confident of what your brand
Mhm.
is, it stands for and gets to do. And so this makes my heart flutter with so much joy.
Yes,
Same.
absolutely. And
I,
it's there's so many things. There's so many little examples that I could be like, yep, I know that we provide better quality of care than some places. That's just, it's in our heart. It's who we are. That's how we practice veterinary medicine. And now people walk into our practice and they see our mark, we have some apparel hanging behind the wall that you guys also helped with. And they're like, I love that. That's so you guys. Like it's all these little things that people say that I'm like, yep,
mhm,
yep,
mhm,
you know?
mhm. And I think one, to say something from earlier, I'm obsessed with the brain, which I know doesn't feel like it's related to the brand, like branding and design, but I'm obsessed with the brain and the way people process emotions and behaviors and like habits and all of that kind of stuff. And for me, it is related to branding, because branding should make you feel something. Kelly always says marketing should make you feel something, and it should, but really, branding kind of sets that foundation so that it helps guide your marketing and what you want to make people feel. And that is what I love about this so much. Yes, I have so much fun designing a website or designing a logo, because like I'm a creative at heart for sure. Give me like a Pinterest board and some colors and I'm gonna go to town. But it's really getting to see the confidence shift in people that
Yeah,
comes with branding, and the excitement shift that happens that is truly
absolutely.
priceless, because it does make a difference. Like when you're like,
Absolutely.
yes, I know how to story tell through my brand now. I know how to present my brand, or even just the simple of I know what color this logo should be in this place.
Mhm.
Like makes such a big difference. And one thing that y'all have done incredibly is show up on social media. And this started like y'all were showing up on it beforehand as well, really well. But I just remember I don't remember exactly the number that y'all were at on Instagram followers wise whenever we first started working together, like back in 2024 for the website. But I remember looking literally like a handful of months later and it had like almost doubled. And I was like, holy cow. So y'all really show up well on social media. So what is your best advice? Because that's a big thing for some people, like not feeling confident to show up on camera or, you know, being afraid of being seen.
Yeah, I totally understand. I feel like for me, it was just like it's a part of our brand. Like authenticity and you is a part of us. And I want to show that and represent that. And authenticity is so awesome, right? Like we talked about earlier about how boring it would be if we all thought the same. Well, how boring would it be if we all look the same and have the same content and have the same ideas? Freaking lame. Nobody cares, right? So I want to see you, whatever your brand is. I want to understand it. And it has to be you for me to understand it. So it's just I think just the power of authenticity is just it can't be replaced.
I agree. And people feel it. And it
Yeah.
lets them know what you're gonna like. I feel like if someone goes onto the Rock and KM social media, they won't be confused when they walk into your clinic because it's the same.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be silliness, there's gonna be fun, there's gonna be seriousness because you know you're doing a serious job, but there's also fun and like laughter and joy that happens in that building, and like you can tell through social media, and it's all connected.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
And if you're listening and you're like, oh, I want to, I want to go stalk them, and you didn't check out the show notes yet, it's at Rocking Cam Vet on Instagram, and they are crushing it. And so if you want to listen and stalk them at the same time, very welcome. Please do.
They always say it's the reality TV show of vet life that you didn't know you needed.
That's right.
And I would say it's true because
totally
it's so much fun. I love all the silly things that y'all do and like the different. There's a series that Brittany is doing a lot right now, or has a couple, and it's like different, like a dog in snow versus, or like a horse like galloping in a certain way, and it's just hilarious. Y'all aren't afraid to be silly and have fun, which is like my favorite kind of people.
Yes, we love it. We do have fun. It takes a lot of work, okay? Like social media and content and stuff like that takes work, and that's something that was a learning curve for us, but it really is important. I mean, so one of our employees actually that joined us before the last one that I mentioned moved from Georgia, and she found us on social media and she was looking for a new opportunity, and she reached out, and wabang, we have a new employee. That's wonderful.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Heck yeah.
That's Brittany. You guys have worked with her. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I know Brittany. I did not know that's how she found you.
She found us on social media.
That's so lovely.
Okay, I love that. So that answers the question of what something social media has done for you since taking it on in a new way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Employee hiring. I mean, because we're always looking to add our next awesome new team member because we're growing, right? And so I think that when we resonate with people, they remember that, and then local or not local, honestly. And it's really given us an opportunity to help with our hiring process for sure. Yeah.
That's really cool.
I mean, honestly, if you're listening and you're in any industry, one of the first things that people are doing before they even apply is stalking you on social media. They're going on your website. They're looking at what your culture is like. And that is something that should be forward on all your marketing. Because if you can't feel the culture through marketing, through messaging, there's something missing. And RCAM does that so well, because you can see them being silly, and also I'm sure they'll giggle with you in the office, but also they take life really seriously. So I think there's a lot of really amazing things that anyone listening can learn just from your social media alone, which I think is special.
Absolutely. Awesome.
How have you gotten all of your team so excited to show up on social media? I mean, I know some show up more than others, obviously, but like, how has that
What's
gone?
the bribing situation?
Yeah, because social media is like not everyone's cup of tea, and you've killed it with many team members showing face on social meets.
I mean, I guess it's just, it sounds silly, but it's true of it's just like we are who we are. Like this is and we're proud and happy to be here. And so it's not like we are trying to represent something that we're not. So if you be you, you know, and it's just
Mhm.
it's a whole atmosphere. And so it really is not even a thing. I mean, of
I
course,
love
like you
that.
said, there's some that are just super silly and eat it up and some
Mhm.
not as much, but there's not it's easy it's a whole vibe.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And that's really just part of the culture. If
Yeah.
everyone is feeling good and confident about the brand
Yes.
in general, then they're able to show up confident on camera.
That's a really great point, Kelly. Of I wouldn't want them to like, okay, imagine me being on camera and selling Coca-Cola. Go have a
Weird.
drink. I don't, this is
Yeah.
stupid, you know, cover me up, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Right.
when you're being a part of something that you see the vision and you believe in, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
That's so special. That's so special. So, can you
Mm.
tell us a little bit more about the culture overall?
Team is everything. That is something that I've really worked on. I work with a business coach, and she really helped me develop my leadership. And that was really, really great for our team. She has helped me so much. And I think that leadership is just, I think that we tend to think about it in such a narrow fashion, but it's everything. It's leadership in helping in every situation, like the situation that maybe used to be difficult for me, past due accounts, right?
Mm.
Something that very tangible, hard. But when you have the leadership and you have open communication and you have autonomy in your people and their job roles and everyone's on the same page, all the other situations that seemed really hard, not that there's not still hard situations, but we have a blueprint of how we handle them, you know?
Mhm.
That I talk a little bit really like Enneagrams. I ask everyone on my team to
Amazing.
use them or take the test or read the book and help me understand them. And that has really helped me become a better leader as well, because the way I like to think about Enneagrams is a different lens of how somebody else sees the world, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
my husband is an Enneagram 1, and sometimes when he would come home from wherever and we would be discussing something, I'd be like, "Oh my God, calm down. Like you are just being so picky about this, blah, 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 you know?" And I would get frustrated. Same with him, same with my team members, same with anything. And that it's really allowed me to be a better leader because I understand how other people are viewing something.
Mhm.
Kind
I
of
love
rabbit
it.
hole there, sorry.
No, I absolutely
No.
love that. That's incredible because that is a huge moment of you care enough to want to know how they
Mhm.
function, how they think, how they work, and how they'll react to things. And that
Mhm.
just opens up the door for you to be free, for them to know about you. And I
Yeah.
think
Mhm.
as a leader, being able to lead by example and also having that open communication, like you said, is probably one of the best things that you can do. And that's why your team loves working there. It's not just because they love animals and want to
Yeah.
serve the community. It's you and your team and really how you lead. And that's such a beautiful thing.
I really try as a leader to be 1,000% transparent too, you know?
Yeah.
Like they know that I'm growing on my leadership journey. And when we're approached with a situation, I just try to be really heartfelt and transparent. And if they know where I'm coming from, they're going to come from the same place, right? And we're going to reach our
Yeah.
end goal way easier.
Mhm.
Sometimes a lot easier said than done. But if we just lay it out there, this is what we got, this is how I'm feeling,
Mhm.
it's easier.
Hmm.
I wish more people knew that because I feel like that's also true advice for like life.
Yeah.
The amount of people who are shitty communicators and would rather silent treatment things or
Hmm.
whatever it might be, it's not getting you anywhere. It's not getting you to the end goal. And the
Yeah.
faster you tell someone that they did something wrong, upset you, did something great, like it can go all the ways, the better, and the more
Hmm.
you'll end up in the result that you desire.
Hmm.
I also love that you have so Enneagram, the quiz is part of your onboarding process, essentially.
I ask my employees to take that. Yes, we have as needed meetings, but
Mhm.
one-on-one meetings with me every year. And we really just kind of dive into what are your goals for the year? What do is there anything else that you feel like we need to work on? Blah, blah, blah. Just total open format. And
Love.
if I don't know their Enneagram at that point, I ask him to take it then because I can't describe to you how much it helps understand something else that probably would have frustrated me or anyone else if you don't understand where they're coming from.
Mhm.
So onboarding and continuing to learn about the employee is when I ask for the Enneagram test. Yeah.
That's really cool. I think that's a really good idea in general, just to have and like kind of a pick your own adventure when it comes to which of the personality tests. Enneagram is one of them. I love human design, and that's something I'm not like an expert in it even a little bit, but like I'm learning more and more about it, and it's fascinating because there's different types of, how would you even call this, Kelly? Like I know you like it too, like energy personalities. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
that
I'm a
sounds right.
manifesting generator, which
Yeah.
so big. I'm like an energizer bunny who has like shiny object syndrome sometimes. Like I always have to be doing different things,
Yeah.
and like I
Yeah.
never run out of energy until I hit that wall, and then like I burn out. I'm also like very easy to get bored of things essentially. But like I know that about my personality now. And there's
Yeah.
ways that you can counteract it in different things. And it's fascinating to learn, like you said, your partner, your friends, probably going to be good with parenthood? Question mark?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
can see that being interesting.
Yeah.
I need to know my Enneagram. I've taken the quiz once, but I don't remember what my number is. I'm
Yeah.
curious to learn more about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a really great book. We'll have to put it in your notes. I listened to a different podcast the other day where they recommend actually reading the book instead of taking the test and just seeing what resonates. So,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, The Road
What's it
Back
called?
to You. That's what it's called. The Road Back to You.
Okay, I love.
Okay. Writing that down.
That's amazing. Brooke and I have the same therapist. And so
Yes, we do.
we're going to have her on at some point because
I
she
love
wanted to
her.
talk all things Enneagram and like really like on live talk about what hers is and what mine
Yeah.
is and
Yeah.
how that works or how it doesn't in some
Yeah.
situations.
Mhm.
I
Because
love that.
yeah, because I completely
It'll be
agree.
fun.
I think we're going to know a lot. I think half the episode is going to be like, oh yeah, dang it, Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that
we're
is
gonna be
you,
like,
you know?
therapize us live. Go
Yeah,
for it.
let's
Have
go.
the best time. Let's go.
I love it.
Yes, that'll be fun.
Mhm.
Okay, but when it comes to obviously your team is incredible and they love you, but have you ever hired someone and you're like, oh no, they're not the right fit here?
Yes, I have.
For better, for worse. Either it's,
Yeah,
on
no,
them or you,
absolutely.
but
Everything's a learning curve, right?
Mhm.
They probably felt the same of I'm not the right fit here.
Mhm.
And that's totally okay,
Right.
Because right, I just got done talking about, we've been talking this whole time about my vision and our brand, right? And if
Yeah.
they aren't on board for it, it's probably going to be pretty painful with us, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
it's just, and it's again, no shame in it. Like
Mhm.
that's just not where they're at in their life or
Yeah.
their career or whatever. And that's cool. That's totally cool.
Mhm.
I asked my team to be pretty invested in us in RKM. And in return, I am fully invested in them. So if
Yeah.
they can't give me that within reason, I'm not like asking you to
Cool.
be crazy or
Mhm.
anything
Right.
like me. But if that's not where they're at right now, then it's probably not a fit. And that's
Right.
fine.
Mhm.
Are there any signs that you could see in hindsight? So I feel like hiring is just an interesting topic in and of itself. Like, what are signs that you've seen maybe in the hiring process for hiring the right person versus the wrong person?
I am an Enneagram 8 and I
Okay.
follow my gut a lot.
Mm.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I don't know if you want to call it intuition or call it gut, but I just really, when things feel right to me, they just feel right. And I don't know. And with that, also recognizing we just talked about how someone's skill set, like what their
Mm.
skill set is and how if it is what we need. If I'm looking for a customer service representative and they're a Enneagram 6 and a loyalist, it might not be the best fit. But just really listening to that person and keeping an open mind. And maybe if you know it's not a right fit for this job, but this person would be amazing at this, having an
Right.
open mind about that is right. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
really, really cool. I mean, just recognizing where people's talents are at and how you can use them and they can use them
Mhm.
because if they're happy in their job, right, they're going to stay. Where if you put somebody in a situation that they don't like what they're doing, they're not that it's just not where their skill set is,
Mhm.
it might not work
Not as
out.
fun.
Yeah.
Also, there's nothing more fun than finding someone who's actually better at something than you are. That isn't necessarily the thing you want to do all the time anyway. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, yes,
Yes,
thank you.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Specific example, we have monthly team meetings and mostly it's just like operational things and we need to make sure everybody's on the same page about this and whatever. And I used to lead those every month and I felt like it was me sitting at the front of the room saying, we got to do this better, guys. Why are we doing this the old way? Blah, blah, blah. And Emma, who's been my employee for, I don't know, probably about 10 years now, leads them now. And I was sitting in our meeting the other day. I'm like, holy shit, she is so much better at this than me.
That's
She's
so
so much
wonderful.
better. Yeah. And it's really awesome to see people do that. Just be like, you're killing it, girl.
But that shows so much beautiful leadership that you have. Because I've been in many roles where I am, square peg, round hole, and they try and just fit you into that. And it just gets resentful and it gets toxic and it gets really, really hard on every aspect. And so you're able to provide an environment for all these amazing humans, and then they get to go home and be happy because everything rolls over, right? So if they have a very squashing day at work because their manager's killing them, they go home and the first 30 minutes they're debriefing with their husband on, oh my gosh, this is the worst day ever. I can't believe she said this or made me feel this way. It's such a beautiful thing to hear how good your culture is because you know that that's bleeding into everything in life and vice versa.
Yeah. Man, think about how many hours we spend at work. And I just can't imagine walking into an environment or a building or a culture that is not you or your vibe. It's been way too many hours to be miserable there. Screw that.
You see your work environment and colleagues more than you see your family most of the time, which is like so unfortunate. And I have a bone to pick with
That's a
society
whole
on
nother
that.
deal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a bone to pick, but it is true. And I've always been a big advocate of don't settle. That's like my thing. Don't settle in life because, and with work specifically, and I'm always cautious a little bit when I say that because I don't want people to think that I think that your work is your entire identity because that's a whole thing too. Sometimes like it can feel like that when it shouldn't be, but you're there 40 hours a week, honestly, at minimum most of the time. So you better love it.
Yeah.
Maybe not every second of it, but like most of it.
Yeah,
Because if not, that's a whole lot of life to
Yeah.
feel miserable in.
Right. Yeah. Back to the motherhood thing, like there's awesome humans all around me. And if I'm going to leave my little awesome human to go be around other awesome humans, we're going to go do epic shit around with other humans. These people are going to be good,
Yeah.
Like,
Because I'm staying home.
yeah, exactly. Because she's good. I know my
Yeah.
baby's good. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let's talk about that more. How has balancing motherhood and businesshood been? Like, how long did it take you to get into that groove? What did that look like?
Any advice for, maybe newer moms?
Wanting to be moms?
Really, really freaking hard. Really freaking hard. I've worked a lot on personal development and leadership and all of these things. And the one emotion that sometimes still eats me alive is guilt of, when I'm, doesn't matter, say I am at home with my baby where I want to be. And I know that one of my associate doctors is doing a dystocia and she's getting her ass kicked. And I'm like, I feel so guilty that I'm not there to help. And when I'm there, of course, I'm feeling guilty that I'm not playing with her,
Yeah.
So just, I guess, learning, you guys have talked about this, of learning some boundaries and setting them and knowing that why would I hold myself to a different standard than I've talked about holding my employees to, right? I would, if I was talking to somebody else about this, I'd be like, you're doing a great job. Like you're doing the best you can. And your daughter is healthy and bright and she loves going to daycare, right? Like, why do I hold myself to this different standard of you should be here, you should be there? That's so ridiculous. Why do we do that to ourselves? So just like giving myself some grace is the biggest thing, honestly.
It's interesting. Shame. I learned this through, I got certified in NLP and had to go through a certification in that and learned a lot about psychology and all the different things in that. And shame and guilt are not natural human emotions. Like you are not born with shame and guilt. That is a learned emotion. It's not a natural one. So we have the natural emotions of our survival instinct. So, fear is a natural human instinct, a natural human emotion, but shame and guilt aren't. That we learned this and we picked this up at some point in growing up in society. And how can we reverse that? Because it's truly so fucked up.
So sad. Oh gosh, that's so sad.
I have a book recommendation on that. My husband and I both listened to it. It's called Raising Girls Who Love Themselves or something like that. The purple cover, I can't remember the author, but that is something that it talks of. I think that Kids or no kids, inner child work or whatever. It's a really great book of some of the things that it says. I'm like, yeah. And I do not mean to cast any shame on anyone that, you know, like my parents, oh my God, I was loved beyond belief. But I think my best friend said this to me. She's like, we're all just doing the best we can until we figure out a better way. And then we do it the better way. Right. So that's just something that that guilt and I totally agree with what you're saying, Brooke.
And entrepreneurship has been the biggest therapy lesson of my life.
Right.
Which I didn't expect. Is that something you expected? Like when it came into owning your own business, or were you just as surprised as I was with the amount of personal development?
Absolutely. I thought I'm going to need taxes to understand that. I'm going to need to understand business structures, blah, blah, blah. Right. You can get other people who are really good at that stuff to help you, but the only expert on you is you. So better spend some time on it.
Right. And the faster you do, I am a big proponent of failing. And so if I get to fail at something every single day, amazing. Because again, I won't do it again. And I get to learn from that. And I think being an entrepreneur is also that. If you don't want to fail, if you have very serious perfectionism problems, you're not going to feel good. Like your body won't feel good when you're doing things because, I mean, we all have some perfectionist stuff and we all, tweak things over and over and over again until they're perfect in our eyes. But if you live like that constantly, your body is going to be in total overwhelm because your to-do list is still growing. And there's still people that are depending on you over here and you have 3 meetings over there. And so I think instead of even just therapy, for me, it's very much, okay, you got to let some things go. And if you fail, that's really okay.
Yeah.
And I have guilt with Brooke where there are days when I'm sick and she has to cover things. I feel awful, but I know that she is the only person that can do it for me and I trust her and love her with my whole heart. But I still feel awful. Like, I swear I will do this and I will, be puking in one bucket, but have my laptop next to me. And she's, please stop it. Please stop it.
Please
Sounds gross. Right? Sounds gross, honestly.
Anything for the mission. But I think there's guilt in a lot of ways. And I also think that you do learn so fast about yourself. And the faster you can just keep learning, the faster you'll be able to grow and grow faster. And I think that's really special.
That brings up a really interesting thought of like your guys' business relationship. My subconscious would want to pour that over into that so much of, oh, I feel like I'm not doing enough for her, because you love this person and you want to show up 110% for them. And so that would be really easy to let that eat you up.
Oh, yeah.
We have this chat almost every day.
Yeah.
One of us will call and be like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And one of us will be like, please stop apologizing. It's really not a big deal.
Yeah.
But we're mortified almost every single day to apologize because something happened or a meeting went long. So we were late to another meeting or something. And it's just, that is a growing thing for us as business partners is I love you and I will do my best as much as possible. My best might be 10% today. Yeah. And that's where we are.
I wonder as you guys develop, if that will continue if it will kind of like a relationship with your partner, right? If you just kind of get into your that the other person is bringing 110% now, that, but somehow some piece of your brain is still, I have to prove to them that I am, where it will kind of settle out a little bit or not.
I think it will.
so.
And a lot of people, before we had ever gotten into a partnership, we had always referred people back to one another. Like Kelly and I always worked really closely together before we merged our businesses. So it's not like we had never worked together before, but before we're doing this, obviously, we listened to some podcasts about business partnership. We did our own soul searching about it separately, and everyone's basically getting married again.
Yeah,
and honestly, when you put an operating agreement together, it really felt like a marriage contract, honestly, because the lawyer was bringing up things that were I was like, I feel like this is a wedding vow in some ways, but then they also make you go through the conversations of, okay, if you end up hating each other, what's that going to look like? And it was very interesting. So the reason I mention all that is because I think it will shift kind of like a marriage or a relationship will shift. My husband jokes all the time that he feels like he has 2 wives now.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I'm like, oh.
Love you. I think it's going to shift. I think the problem that Brooke and I both have, and you probably have as well, just as an entrepreneur, is that constant need for something better, to do something, more extravagant, to build another business at the same time. 'Cause why not?
Yeah.
there's just always so much going on and you want to do 110% in all of the things. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that is a lesson that Brooke and I have learned very
Mhm.
explicitly of like, you're not letting me down. You still
Yeah,
got 15
right.
things done today. Even though there's always 75 things on your list,
Right.
you're still crushing it over there. And that is a growing pain that we both have had because we both want to
Yeah.
do so well all
Yeah.
of the time. Mhm.
It will also be something to navigate, like if someone goes through a life change, you know, like someone does have a child or
Yep.
someone does start a new relationship otherwise.
Mhm.
That's going to be a whole nother, like right now you have a bit of a normal. And
Mhm.
so what that will feel like is going to be wild,
Huge.
right? And so it
Oh,
just goes back to that, like, I know, like, just 1000% transparency and communication, which I can see you guys have, but it will still be hard, you
Correct.
know?
oh, it's
Correct.
actually funny that so Alex commented, I feel like I have two wives now. Yeah, the kid conversation, Kelly's in it now.
Yeah.
It's not
Kelly
just
knows.
me and Alex,
Yep.
like fully in it.
Yep.
Because it is. It does shift things. It's not just, oh, I mean, yes, I have autonomy and I can make my own decisions, sure, but it affects her now. So
Right. Yeah.
business partnership is interesting for anyone.
Yeah.
I love it. I really love it. I like it better than solo, which
Mhm.
obviously I was unsure of because, and there's highs and there's lows with it, but it has been a new thing to navigate, but it's fun. But you have to do it with the right person because I could
Yeah.
see how
Right.
this could go really badly as
Yeah, for
well.
sure.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
we have very, very strong boundaries of Brooke and
Oh
I
yeah.
will be in like a meeting together, just her and I, and we are in it. Like we are both kind of going after each other and we'll hang up. We'll be, I can't talk to you right now. And we'll hang up and literally I'll
Mhm.
text her and be like, hey, love you, but what's for dinner? Because we have to
Pivot.
disassociate like the friendship to the business partners because
Yeah.
if we keep those so muddled, it could get messy and it could get toxic
Yeah.
because we have to make hard decisions together all the time.
For sure.
And so we made that even before actually joining, we had many conversations of if you're out, I'm out. Right.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
if you don't feel good, you tell me immediately. I have goosebumps thinking about it because we had so
Okay.
many conversations of this won't work without you. I don't want it to work without you. You don't want it to work without me. We got this and it's going to be
Mhm.
hard, but I love
Yeah.
you and we're going to
Yeah.
figure this
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
that's why we've talked about it on other episodes of business communication is over here and like
Mhm.
texting is like friend conversations. And we'll
Yeah.
do it
Mhm.
both at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget to email this person. Also, hi, love you.
Yeah.
We do it all the
It's
time.
truly, yeah, it's chaotic. We'll have 30 conversations
Sure.
at once because one is personal and we're talking about
Yeah.
like the book we're both reading at the same
Mhm.
time and that. And then it's like, hey, did you send this contract? Oh my God, have you gotten to the scene yet? But just in two different
Totally.
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you know,
But it is a challenge.
when you are frustrated with each other, it's not like Brooke is frustrated with Kelly. Brooke is
Mm-mm.
frustrated with her business partner, and
Mhm.
you're frustrated with that relationship, not that person, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's to me like it's identifying that like those are not the same thing. Brooke and
Mhm.
Kelly
No.
will always be friends, but Brooke might be frustrated with a business arrangement or something. You
Yeah.
know?
And
Like,
I'm sure it's the same way in a team culture too. Like even like frustrations within work.
Totally.
Like you're not like I'm
absolutely.
sure there's times where it's like I'm not frustrated with this like this human. I'm frustrated with
Yes.
this employee
Situation,
moment.
basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's where like love and respect, right? In every aspect. And all of us, at least Brooke and I know, have been in situations with other leaders and managers that there was
Mhm.
zero respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can feel that instantly. And so what's cool about learning about you and your team and your culture and knowing some people on your team, like you can just tell. We'll all get on a call and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they love their jobs. And it's such a cool thing
Yes.
for even me as like an outsider to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's felt.
Yeah. So I guess when you have a hard day at work or even personally, do you have anything that you do when you're like, all right,
Mhm.
I need to go to yoga. I need to just sit in the pasture for a little bit. I need to listen to the Find Your Fuse podcast. Something.
Shameless
I
plug,
love
Kel.
the I love the Find Your Fuse podcast. Yes, I do. I like my me time. Okay. I hope that it's been beyond clear that my daughter is my entire freaking heart. However, sometimes mommy needs mommy time.
Yes.
And that's a whole nother like, oh my God, the guilt. Like, how could you? Why you should be with her, right? But even if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes of silence with
Mm.
my horse,
Amazing.
riding, or even just grooming and just like it gives me multiple opportunities, I guess. When I'm showing him, like that brings out my competitive, like this is me and him and we are competitors and we can do this. But also like when I'm just in the barn, which I am right now, and the rain is pitter pattering on the roof and he's behind me and he's going because he wants his dinner, just giving myself an opportunity to stop and just reflect and breathe and chill the F out, right? That is needed and something that it is really easy for me to think is not important, but not letting that happen. And I know you hear that. Everybody hears that. You have to take me time, blah, 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 right? But no, really. And sometimes it's not feasible to take an hour or 2 or whatever. Take 10 minutes. 10 minutes. It's
I
fine.
completely agree. It's going to be fine. The problems are still going to be there in 10 minutes, but give yourself a break.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's going to be okay. I know. I always say you can't pour from an empty cup. It's the cheesiest saying ever, but it's a cheesy saying for a reason because it's true. Like unless you like fill your own cup again, like you won't be able to show up to the best of your ability and all those other responsibilities and like facets of life. So tell us about the horse. Him.
Yeah. So I show reining horses, which is awesome. I am a competitor and I love that just because that kind of feeds back into my Enneagram of I want to do this and I want to be good at it, but it's feeds into my profession. Yes. But also it's more than that. And I actually earlier, this is super cheesy and I am not a super cheesy person, but I rode earlier because this is my day at home and I was brushing him off and I put him back in his stall and I looked at him and he looked at me and I was like, I said to this out loud to him. I said, I have to remember when I'm working on somebody else's horse, I'm working on a horse, but it's their either livelihood or friend or whatever. It's so easy to be so disconnected from your work and not recognize what it is to someone else, right? Like I bet it's easy to do that in your position as well. Like another rebrand, right? Oh, this color looks great. No one cares, you know? Right. But remembering how much that means to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like to a degree too, in what you do, and correct me if I'm wrong since I haven't experienced it, but I feel like you kind of have to in a way. Because I feel like in veterinary medicine, I feel like you can have so many highs and lows in the same day. Yeah. Like you can put someone's animal down and then turn right around and someone is a 3-year-old bringing in her new puppy and you have to like go from one emotion to another. Like I assume you had to learn how to disassociate for that, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. 1,000%. You're absolutely right. It's a great point of, you developed that skill because you had to. It's a self-defense mechanism. It's just really easy to like forget what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Because it's your everyday. It becomes mundane. It's kind of a aggressive word, but like it is. Like
it's a to-do list item.
The normal.
Yeah.
Yep. You're like, I checked on, Shelly the horse this morning and they're good. Everything's fine. Instead of like, Shelly is literally someone's best friend and they've been with her for 5 years, and it is very easy. And in our line of work, from my perspective, it's also very easy. Like I will build marketing plans all day till I'm blue in the face. But there are moments where I will get frustrated because I'm looking at a 30-page document. And then I realize, Kelly, like the reason you do this and the reason that it works is because you take their branding and their messaging and put it into the world for them. That is powerful stuff instead of just here's a 30-page document. Have a good life. It's so easy to do.
Yeah. And for me, it's one of those things that like you can't fully understand and recognize unless you've been there, right? Would a veterinarian still have empathy if they didn't have any animals of their own? I don't know, maybe, but I don't know that I would be very good at it because I'd be like, I have to remember that this is their pet and blah, blah, blah. But until that other part of my brain says, no, I understand because I have one of those, I bet you guys, at least to some extent, feel the same way about your brand. It's your job and it's important to them, but just remembering like when it's your brand, it totally, it hits different.
Yeah.
I can actually speak to that. And Kelly, I'm sure you can as well, even with the corporate experience, but like from that perspective, because like I was doing ops in my last corporate job. So like writing SOP, which is like so funny because I wouldn't say ops is like my like best thing ever. I'm good at it, but anywho, I was doing ops and it was so easy for me to disconnect. I would write SOPs and like it was good to go, whatever. Doing it for my own business or helping someone else like with their own, like now it's branding more, but it's different. Like I didn't I did a good job. It's not that I didn't. I was always very
Yeah.
good at what I did, actually. Like, I
Yeah.
was always the employee that went above and beyond, but I also, like, when I was off, I just didn't care. Like, I was done. I
Yeah.
hope that doesn't sound horrible, but that was the truth.
No.
Whereas shifting into the experience of owning your own business and like having so much skin in the game and like getting to experience that, it does change that perspective. And it's something that I do remember. And I have to remind myself when working with other brands. It's yes, I might just be doing another rebrand for someone, but like the way I feel about the business that we're building is the same way they feel about theirs. And like
Totally.
it's a good reminder to have, especially since I've seen the other side of it from the
Yeah.
corporate. This
Yeah.
isn't my baby, but now
Yeah.
I get it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even
Yeah.
taking that a step further, we'll have a whole bunch of discovery calls coming in, and we already
Mhm.
have a full plate, and we're already
Yeah.
delegating to our team and all of this stuff, and we'll be like, okay, well, we're really freaking grateful for all these opportunities coming in,
Yeah.
but we can't do them all at one time. So
Right.
we have a moment of guilt of you're gonna have to wait till May. Like
Yeah.
we're completely booked, and it is a moment of this is their baby, right? Like we're the ones
Mhm.
putting their baby on hold.
Yeah.
And usually it's fine and it's no big deal. But I'm always like, we physically can't because we have done it all.
Yeah.
And we will not do anything well because we will be burnt out. We'll get to that
Right.
point. And so it's kind of like a catch-22 of we'll do
Mhm.
it as soon as possible, but it has to be right for everybody. Otherwise, it won't be
Yeah.
amazing. And that is a remembering a baby moment because
Yeah.
we would want the same. Like if we were working
Yeah.
with a firm to build our brand, we would want them to take their time and really have a time and have so much love for it like we do. And
Mhm.
that's what we do for everyone else. Even if there's a moment of crap, we are actually booked out for the next 5 weeks. We're gonna have to move this back. So that's
It's
kind
That
of
interesting
that
too.
part too. Yeah.
I was wondering this earlier. Do you ever do like a call with someone or someone wants you to rework something and you're like, no, this doesn't feel right for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we tell
We have
people
said
that
no.
we date our clients
Yeah.
before actually like signing paperwork because her and I, we're not in the game anymore of like, amazing, it's a quick, $400 or whatever, we'll
Right.
just do it. It has to feel good to them and it has to feel good to us. And there has been a couple of cases when it felt good for them to work
Yeah.
with us and we both looked at each other and literally went, how do you feel after that call? And both of us went, nope.
No.
Yeah.
We're not like it's just not worth it. And we love people and we love what we do. But if we're not a good fit, we won't be able to perform in the way that we want to and love on them in the way that we want to. So no, we say no often.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth it because that comes from a place of like when I first started my business, like baby entrepreneur broke, quit my corporate job and was like just new and didn't know, like I knew what I was doing in regards to like my services, but like running a business. And I would say yes to everything because I was like, cool, like I have to find my own clients. Like I can do it. Yes, I
Yeah.
can physically do what you're requesting of me. So yes, it's a yes. And I can't tell you the amount of all-nighters and hours of panic attacks and tears that happened in my first year of
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
from saying yes to people that were just not my people. I've had humans yell at me on phone calls, like and it was just because I shouldn't have said yes to them to begin with, and I like was doing everything there. They just weren't my people. That's really the
Right.
best way I could put it. But it took experiencing that for me to learn that at least.
And
Because I'm a learn in the moment person for
Yeah.
better or for worse sometimes. But it took a lot. But yes, now we definitely will say no.
Yeah.
and that is
If it needs-
something that I actually envy about you because Dr. Katie, your gut rules everything. For me, my gut will react and then my brain like actively takes over. I think I'm
Yeah.
a 3. And so Brooke and I will be on calls and I'll be like, how's your gut feel? And we're both like, I don't know. And I'm like, no, we know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Listen.
Just say,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so I'm actually very envious that you're just like able to do that so fast because we have been burned, but we have also learned. So even now
Mhm.
in our like dating part of new clients, we ask very strategic questions
Yeah.
because it depends how they answer. And if they answer in a way that makes us feel any certain way,
Yeah.
it's just not worth it.
They're for someone else.
Yep.
Which is okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally, something I never would have thought about, but totally can see where like
Mhm.
you have to be on board with their vision too to create it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's in their head. It's up to you to pull it out. But if you're like looking at their vision and going, what the hell, man? No.
Totally.
One time, it took one time I worked with someone, and I have love for this human. I just didn't agree with what she was doing. And it was a tiny little, it wasn't like a brand or anything that I was building, but one time I worked with someone on a small project and I just like morally did not agree with what they were doing. And I hated every second of it. Love
Yeah.
that human being, but it was a lesson learned moment of it's
Not
gotta
worth
feel
it.
good in all of the ways. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was also first year of business. Learned a lot.
Yeah, right. Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny
Well,
hearing you guys talk of all the things that is like same,
mhm.
completely
same
different
but
lines of
different, but
work.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
completely different lines of work, but exactly the same
Yep.
lessons.
I feel like what was a big lesson you learned in your first year of owning a practice?
It's the same thing you just said, Brooke. You don't have to say yes to everything. And if you do, one, you're not probably they're going to be frustrated because they're not going to like the outcome because your heart wasn't in it. And there's all these other repercussions of just, I don't even know. It's just, you don't have to say yes to everything. It's not always a yes.
It's a huge
Correct.
lesson.
Correct.
And you're not blocking more abundance. But I feel like at first it almost
Yeah,
feels like it's a
right.
scarcity thing. It's, but if I don't say yes to this, then I'm not going to make enough money and then I'm not going to be able to pay my team.
Absolutely.
And that's like the opposite of true. Every
Right.
time we say no to someone,
Yes.
a more
Yeah.
aligned client
Yeah.
comes along
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah. No, you're right. That absolutely comes from a place of scarcity of I have to take this work. And what's going to happen, like in my situation, if I take this work, like I do something that I'm not my skill set, small animal orthopedics, okay? Not my skill set. I take it, the case outcome isn't good. I did it because we were in a pinch, but the case outcome wasn't good. I didn't communicate with the client well. They felt like they didn't get the best quality of care. Like who wins here? Me,
No
not
one.
them, not the animal.
Yeah.
No one,
No.
No
you know?
one.
And then you just keep thinking about it when you're
Yeah.
home because it's like not, you can't leave it at the door because you
Yeah.
don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a 0 out of 10 all around. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for maybe a new human or a new vet coming out of school or starting their own practice that you're like, you know what, if I knew this right away, this would have saved me years of trouble or heartache or anything?
Just having some confidence. And I don't even graduating as a new veterinarian is scary stuff, right? Like you walk into the exam room, this might be the first dog you've seen ever as a doctor, and you're supposed to be the professional. What the hell?
Oh,
So when I say the word confidence, I don't even mean like you have to know this case outcome or what we recommend. It's maybe just like navigating the room, like just being authentically you and navigating the room and communicating with that client and petting the dog. The
Yeah.
clients notice if you pet the dog.
Totally. Totally.
Being there and present and authentically them would be my
Mm.
advice. And if you need help with that, get it because I'm freaking 40 and I need help with it. So how do you think a 25-year-old feels? Like, get it.
Totally.
Whatever that
Yeah.
means, get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it the
That's good
same
advice.
in veterinary medicine as it is? And I have only ever graduated in public relations technically. So that's my direct experience. But yes, of course, you learn a lot in school. Sure, you practice a lot, but like it's half of the stuff you really learn on the job after, I assume.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We've talked
Absolutely.
about it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's why finding a practice as a new veterinarian that you feel like you have mentorship and a good environment and a good team is beyond important. Beyond important.
Absolutely.
Because
And
you have a
that's,
whole lot of learning to do still.
yeah, and that's why you guys offer an
Yes,
externship
yes.
program.
Which we've had a ton of feedback about. It's been a really great launch from us. And it just totally aligns with our vision and our brand. And honestly, I'll be completely honest and completely transparent here. We did that for us. Okay. We did that so that we can hire new veterinarians.
Amazing.
It's everybody wins in that situation.
Absolutely.
You want to tell anyone about the internship and even like the single day shadowing
Yeah.
externships?
Yeah,
Plug it.
absolutely. So we define our externship as just like a, hey, you want to come for the day, you want to come for the afternoon, cool. Sign up on our website. We make no guarantees on what's going to happen that day. It might be a horse laceration and a cow dystocia, or it might be dog rabies vaccinations. Who knows? That's the beauty of rural practice, right? You can be in high school, you can be a vet tech, you can be anyone that just wants to learn a little bit more about rural practice. Our internship is for first year veterinary students to come and shadow after their first year in between their first and second year of vet school. And then after that, we ask them to come back in between their second and third year. And it is just an opportunity for anyone, whether they are interested in rural practice or not. We only elect one a year, so it's an application process, but to come and really see what rural mixed animal practice is about, because it's a lot, right? It's crazy, but Hopefully also they are interested and might be a member of Team RKM down the road, but if they're not, that's totally awesome too. Hopefully we've given them a vision of the kind of practice they want to be at, one that values team and unity and community and excellence. So it just hopefully shows them this might not be the practice for me because I can't be in Kansas, but this is where what I want to be at.
I think an important thing of that too, and this is true in any industry, once you find a mentor, that you don't have to, even if you don't work directly under them forever, they can still be a mentor for life. So like
Absolutely.
them getting to work with you or Dr. Blasey, like anyone on your team, anyone that they can look to as a mentor and learn from, whether they stay at that practice, move to a different one, like you still always have that connection.
Absolutely.
I know I still speak to past bosses of mine that I haven't worked for in decades. There is a boss from Bare Minerals that I worked at in college, and she was my favorite boss that I've ever had. And she and I still chat on Instagram. So like once a mentor, always a mentor.
Yeah. And just that network, right? So you want to do horse racetrack work. Okay, that is definitely not me, but I know somebody that you should get in contact with, right?
Yeah.
Just building that network is so important.
Priceless.
Absolutely.
So in closing, just because this has been a very fun conversation, but we'll wrap it up for the sake of time. We want to end all of our guest episodes with just a moment of reflection because I think there's so much that you can learn from looking back and it affects how we move forward. So if you could go back and sit across from yourself before the start of this journey, before you had the brand, before you had the clinic, before the chaos of life and motherhood and all the things, what would you tell her?
Your best is good enough.
That gave me chills. I love that.
Oh.
No matter motherhood, veterinary medicine, boss, leader, entrepreneur. I think we talk about inner child. Like I said, I know I'm supposed to be sitting across from myself, but I'm actually sitting across from my daughter telling her that your best.
Don't mind me.
No, I love that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so true. And also easy to forget.
Yeah. So that was like, I don't know how many words, 6, 7 words, but it's enough. Like it's enough. Quit with the guilt and the shame and it's enough. Just quit.
Tattoo it on your forehead. Like it is, it's such a good, but write it on your mirror in your bathroom. It's a good affirmation to have everywhere. Cause I think that's something that many people struggle with. I know I do. So
every day.
I love that.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
My absolute pleasure to spend time with you too.
Can you tell everyone where they can find you so they can go stalk all of the places, learn more about RKM?
Absolutely. We are pretty active on Instagram, Rocking KM Vet, also Facebook. And also, I don't know if you heard earlier, but our website is awesome. So rockingkmvet.com. So come see us.
It is. Thank you so much. And thank you really for being such an amazing highlight of like our full client roster. Every time we get to work on anything RKM, it brings us joy. So we appreciate you and your kindness and your openness. And learning from you, for me, is a pleasure, especially as like a leader. And as our team grows, like it's really a blessing to have you as someone that we know is really good at that. And so shadowing that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean that.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. We have new episodes coming out every Thursday, so we will catch you in one of the next ones.
And please take some time, follow us on @FindYourFuse or email us at info@findyourfuse.com for all inquiries and all exciting things that you want to chat with us about. We love building this community and we love you. Take some time and leave a review. Anything above 5 stars, we'd love it. But really, we appreciate you and we appreciate your feedback in any form because the more feedback we can get, the better we'll get. Okay, love